Welcome in, everybody. My name is Josh. This is Gaming Joy channel, and I need to put my headphones on so I can hear the music. I don't really need to hear it, do I? I just want to. Welcome in, everybody. How's it going? I see Bruce, Chad early on today. Wow, look at that. Waylon, welcome in. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for jumping in right away. We're going to get down to it. We got a lot of stuff to go through today. We have a whole 6 maps, if you can believe that. 6. That's just, yeah, insanity. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this. I can always recreate that one, so I don't have to scroll too much. And we're going to go ahead and create a new game. So we have a bunch of games, and I'm just going to go through them kind of, I guess, alphabetical order. There's one on here that I'm not gonna tour, that I do have here in my list of 10 maps. And the reason I'm not gonna tour it is because it's on ModHub. So part of this, the idea for this stream or this kind of series is looking at new maps that aren't on ModHub that we kind of like, okay, what's coming? What's coming down the line if someone actually submits it to ModHub and goes through the process. This one's the one that just got released on ModHub. I wouldn't play this map. Not just because it has a lot of required mods. I don't mind the required mods personally. I think from a modding perspective, a lot of required mods is not a big deal. It sucks for console players, and I get that, but by having required mods, as a modder, you're putting the load of making sure those required mods work on the other modders and not taking it on yourself. I went through this right now with Harrison Farms, where a lot of the mods that are being included in Harrison Farms that SMB decided to use are busted or broken, which means that those, because they're inside the map, they're now a requirement of that map to be successful for those mods to be fixed. And so I've had to go through and fix a lot of the other mods that could have been dependencies had they been on ModHub. So I don't necessarily mind the dependencies. I know some people like shy away from playing a map, but in all honesty, most people have 100+ mods in their mod folder. What's a couple placeable dependencies so the map runs right? Personally, I actually don't mind a lot of dependencies. It's annoying when you're doing a map tour. I get that. But if you're going to play a map, cares how many dependencies it has. If you like it, you like it. Don't avoid a map just because it has a lot of dependencies. So this one had a lot of dependencies. I could go into it right now. Actually, we could do it. I'm talking about so much, we should just do it. This map folder, I'm not going to really look at the folder of mods because there's so many included mods from all of the different maps, and now they're all in one mod folder. So, but this is not a map I'd play. And the main reason I wouldn't play it is because it's so flat. It's a massive 4x map. And it's a 4x map on ModHub, which is really awesome. It's our second 4x map on ModHub, which is crazy considering we don't have very many regular 1x maps on ModHub. But it is their second one. Come on, come on, come on. Start. And I'm just going to go into flight mode. I'm not going to look at the farms. I'm not going to look at any of that kind of stuff. We're just going to go here. And we're going to fly around. And so we're kind of in the, if we pull up our mini map, we're kind of up here on the bottom left. And as you see, there's a lot of fields on this map. It doesn't actually go all the way to the 4x edge. It kind of stops about right here, yonder. This, you can see this edge right here is the 4x, the edge of where the 4x would be. And it looks like if you fly over here, you can get over here, but yeah, there's borders preventing you from getting any further. But the weird thing is these extra fields over here, some of them you can kind of sort of get to, which is always annoys me. If I can get to something, I always want to be able to play the whole thing. But this is, you know, it's a perfectly flat map. There is a little bit of contours here and there, little lakes, slightly rolling fields. But if you want a German map with 15, 12, 14, something like that, pre-built farms, this is your map. Got lots of wind farms that you can buy and make some money off of. That's about it. There isn't really anything spectacular about this map, other than the fact that it's a 4X with a lot of fields. It almost borders in some places, like here, on like that Polish style, where you have, you know, lots of small fields. But you have to remember that these small fields, like this field right here, it doesn't tell me how big it is, but it's like 190 is the one I was just over. It's 2.5 hectares. It's not a small field. It's a very, very big field. And there's also a ton of husbandries on this map. So if you like animal husbandries, and especially now with Meadow being fixed, finally, with the animal husbandries, this would be a good map if you like that. But yeah, lots of big fields, lots of craziness. Nothing is really square to the map. It's all at angles. And almost some of the fields are relatively square, and they'd be somewhat worker friendly, but they're not square to like the 0-0, like many American maps would be. And there's also a very significant number of grasslands. So right here in the middle of the map right here, you go from this end of the map to the other end of the map, it's all grass. So if you like your grasslands, you like your grass contracts, you're going to have lots of grass contracts. Like this one, 194, a mowing contract for $30,000. You're going to make some good money. But that's the 4X map that's on ModHub. Overall, I wouldn't play it. It's too flat for me. But it's not a bad map if you're looking for a 4X map. I hope that they allow these on consoles soon. That would be stellar. Quit. Yes. And that goes into my 3-minute map tour of Schwesing Bahnhof, or whatever it was called. I can't pronounce those. We're going to go the rest of them by alphabetical order. And we're going to go the first one, which is Argentina FS25. So this Argentina FS25 is it's in the description of the video. Come on. I don't know. I'll pull it up in a minute. While it's booting up. I'll pull up who it's by. I need this real quick. Edit. Argentina V2 is by LDARGENTO. There are 0 dependencies for this map, so I'm going to call this out for all of them because for many people the number of dependencies is kind of a concern at times. And will affect whether you want to play the map or not, I'm assuming. Again, back to what I just said earlier, I don't really care, but some people might. All right, let's jump in. This map does have a few errors in the log. Those errors are fixable. So if we scroll up on our log, we have a marker icons error, that should say marker icons.i3d, not XML. You need to specify the specific i3ds for the marker icons now, not the old way. We have an addable triggers thing that doesn't have pallet unload triggers, doesn't have bale triggers. Those are from mods that they've pulled in. A bunch of their selling stations don't have the correct pallet and bale triggers for certain crops. And again, more pallet triggers, selling station stuff. So pretty easy overall. There's a bunch of field manager ones. Now those are actually going to be a little bit of a problem. And then also this farmland ID was not set for all pixels on farmland info layer. That is not a major problem from a playability standpoint, but it is a problem from a map development standpoint. So these are all things they could probably fix density height map updater, blah, blah, blah. Those are all things that are fixable. Let's look into it. Now, this is an Argentina map, and usually for stuff in South America, I would expect to see South American ground. So I would expect to see the more red dirt from South America. Now we've got these old flags. These are flags from the previous version. You can see they're not moving. Oh, awesome, Anthix. I'm glad you got your thing working. But here we are in this... Where are we? We are starting off at the dealership. So we start off at the gas station for some reason. That's an interesting start point. And let's look real quick at our overall map. So we have... It's kind of weird. It looks like there's another map behind this map. Like the outer border is another map from somewhere else. And then this other map is on top of it. It doesn't really match for whatever reason. I don't understand that. Looks like our main farm is right here. And then we have 2 fields. Yay. We appear to have all of the normal crops plus alfalfa. And there's a significantly large alfalfa field down here on field 27. We do have contracts, and those contracts are significant. These are boosted contracts, so even that farmline 76, a bale wrapping contract for 87 grand, that's there's going to be like 100 square bales there you're going to have to wrap, so pretty substantial. There are no production chains in this map, so this is one of those things that I always look for, and I think that most FS25 maps, at least, I mean, FS22 maps should have had this, but an FS25 map that doesn't have productions, I feel like it's a not finished map, for the most part. Let's jump in the sky and check it out. Okay, so we're on the edge of the map, and the outer edge is not really textured at all. There's no trees or decoration on the outer edge. It just kind of, yeah, it's there, and there's a gap for some reason. I'm not sure why there's a gap, but there's a gap. So the distance scenery on this map is not super great. It's there, but it's, if you don't mind nothing in the distance, then that's where you are. We're going to loop around kind of counterclockwise and look at the fields. I'm not going to spend too much time on this map because it feels to me, and you know, the map author can come in and argue with me, it feels to me not done. It feels to me partially done. So we've got a bunch of really big fields. We've got some water features. We've got a fence that runs through water features. One thing about the water feature that I'm not sure about is that they didn't paint under the water. So the under the water is grass, which doesn't make sense. But I would like to see some more decoration in the water. But you've got a bunch of really big fields. If you like big fields, especially this one, this is that big one. And I like the rolling, slightly rolling nature of these fields. So it's not perfectly flat. It is just a slightly rolling hills if you look. But this is alfalfa ready to harvest. Interestingly enough, this is alfalfa ready to harvest, but it has no color to it. So a lot of the other representations of alfalfa have color. And this just might be the third growth stage, which you can mow early if you want. And then this edge of the map is pretty much incomplete. You can get to all the way to the edge of the map. You can see over here, like I'm all the way over the edge. There's no border collisions. But these hills and stuff over here, which don't have fields and farmlands, you can get to. And there's grass, which I'm assuming you'd be able to mow. But you can't own it, as far as I remember. Yeah, you can own it, the outer border, like the unbuyable land, for $33 million. If you want. I don't know why you'd want to, but it's not really finished. So it's like they painted up to a certain point, and I'm assuming they meant to put borders in. They haven't done it yet. It is what it is. So that's the way the whole left border is. But I do like these kind of puddles of water from the water level running through areas of the map, and of course they're cut out of the field, so you're not expected to harvest under those fields. We've got a few places like this. Like this looks like it's set up for some kind of husbandries, but they're not actually husbandries. They're just gated as if they are, which is a little strange. But overall, you've got a very slightly rolling map. No roads, not many roads per se, but they have taken some time to make the roadways look legit. Power lines and power towers and communication towers and some trees in between fields, but this is definitely not a forestry map. This is definitely, you get this cool area up here, which is kind of like a wetlands open area. Yeah, that's about it. Not much else to report on this map. I do like how they did the water here, where they actually kind of mess with the grass underneath the water. That I kind of like. I think I like the look of that. Can you buy that area? But you can't, like, it's some of these areas, like, you can buy a square. Like, to me, Field 88 would be this piece right here. Like, I would say this is Field 88, and everything else here is Field 87. But instead of doing that, they did squares, which is an interesting decision. Like this one, Field 80, you can buy this part of it, and then you buy this part of it. I would kind of separate them differently, but, you know, whatever, to each their own. But overall, it's fair. And that's about it. A big open, nice and open. Aren't too many trees to get in your way. If you like your farming, go for it. Now these if you look, see the shadows and stuff that's happening with when I'm flying. See that black darkness? It's because they haven't set up their environment. So if you look, there's no clouds in the sky. There's nothing. So they haven't set up their environment correctly. So it's not a complete form. It's not a complete setup. I do like this silo complex thing here, but it seems like it's set up very strangely, where you have a silo, then you have a thing that loads the silo, which this should go into a leg, and it doesn't. It just kind of dead ends. So it's almost like this was put together by someone who doesn't really fully understand how silos work. Whatever. These decorative silage bags are kind of cool. To me, that's about it. We go down the main road here. This is the main road. It is using the new decal system, I think. I can't tell. Maybe not. No, it's not. It's not using the new decal system. So this is still using FS25 kind of logic. And your main farm is over here. And this is your main farm. It's an interesting, like, rural farm setup with just a big opening, a big easy shed, a couple silos, a water source, and a farmhouse. That's it. That's your farm with some buildings around it. Not a lot, but, you know, for some people, that not a lot is good. For me, I would kind of wait for this map to get a couple more updates. It is listed as a beta. It's in its V2 beta stage. And I'm assuming they're probably going to want to add some productions to the map. Sell points. If we look at our sell point, look at all those contracts. I love contract boost giving us all the contracts. If we look at the sell point, there is a couple sell points here. There's a farmer's market. There's multiple sell points for grain. So if you look at the grain stuff, there's a lot of selling points. But the farmer's market is for your sell point for almost everything else. And there aren't too many here that don't have selling points, except for manure and straw and stuff like that. And lime and liquid fertilizer, which is pretty normal. Not a big deal. But anyway, that's Argentina V2 by LDARGENTO. 0 dependencies on this one right now, but maybe there will be, maybe there won't. Nice, big, open, flat-ish map. But I do like that there's a little bit of contour to the land, which is makes me happy. No, don't save game. Press the wrong button. Sorry. I have never seen that map before, personally. So I don't know if that was a converted map from 22 or what. That's a first time for me. Quick say hello to the people in the chat. I see Keith coming in. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Trucker Massey, thanks for coming in here. There's a few modders on here. Yeah, that's right. Keith's here. Rusty Money's here. Thank you for being here, Rusty. Ultimate Sim Gamer, thanks for coming in. You always cut before flowers up here, so maybe for certain parts of the world, they do that first cut. And right now, you're going to benefit from that first cut still working to be 100% yield. There's still currently a bug in the game where grass, meadow, and alfalfa, then anything that has a double cut stage where you can cut at the green stage and also the harvest ready stage, in FS22, if you cut at the first green, the green big stage, you would get 50% yield. If you waited till fully harvest ready, you'd get 100% yield. That is still a bug in FS25, which is crazy. After 4 patches, it's still a bug. Oh well. I've said enough about that. I don't understand things. Here's an interesting one. This is looks like a relatively new map maker. This is Back Yonder Acres by Daniel Vess. This has no dependencies as well. I'm just going to load everything because I don't really want to figure it out. But there's an error there that comes up. Anyone who uses that 3-star garage, the 3-stars garage has a visual error that causes it to always show up in bright white. If it shows up as bright white, that means that the map maker didn't take the time to actually color it properly. The reason it shows up as bright white is because it's designed to be colored by the Thunder Placeable Colors modding script, which is a PC only thing. But that mod is also PC only, so take what you want. Other than that, there aren't too many errors in the log. If we look, that's normal. That's contract boost. It's fine. That's normal. And look at this. It's almost a clean map, honestly. There's a few things from like mods, but I don't know if those are mods that are being used in this map, so I'm just going to call it a wash and say that this map has a clean log, which is great. Here's where you log in or start in. It appears to be using a lot of the Giants assets from Riverbend Springs, but they're not really fully there because technically right here, there should be a trigger for the dealership. Right here is where the dealership trigger should be. There's a workshop trigger over there. And then in the base game, there's a workshop trigger over here. But it feels like the buildings were brought in without fully understanding how that works, which is fine. If we look at the map real quick, no special crops. And we are pretty much here in the middle of the map. We do have the map triggers, so where the vehicle shop is, which is right here, it teleports you to this location, which is not where the vehicle shop is. It does have the workshop, which is right here, teleports you to the workshop, but this is a base game asset. If we buy a vehicle, let's buy our Registract that we sometimes like to use for these. Overdrive, buy, yes. Spent all my money, good job. And that's where it spawns in. So look, this whole entire massive area, I'm assuming the spawn zone is going to go here. It's going to go at this kind of weird angle. I don't know why you'd go at an angle like that, but whatever. It's going to spawn at an angle. It's going to go down this way towards that tree. So maybe there's going to be 2 rows, maybe not. Who knows? If we tab, we can go. There's no vehicles. There's no vehicles. If we look on the map, there is a starting farm, I think, over here at farm number 1, and we're going to jump over there. Now, farmland number 1 doesn't have any crops in the field and has what looks like a pretty simple farm. Let's fly over. What am I doing? I'm stuck. All right. So this is your starting farm. It's got a bale storage, a silo, a manure pit that's floating, bale storage that is not floating, and an easy shed. So that's your starting farm. I believe this one will be over here is probably your farmhouse, because I'm seeing the little trigger there. That's probably your farmhouse. Then it looks like you also have this land. If we look at the land, it's kind of an interesting map. It's kind of a combination, this map, from my perspective. It's kind of a combination between a wilderness map and a farmland map. So you've got a lot of these wilderness areas-ish areas, and they're relatively big. And they're relatively expensive. They look like they're about the 60,000 per hectare level. If we come down here to this one, it's actually about 30,000 per hectare. So I don't know if they're all the same price, but that's what we've got from a size of farmlands. But let's fly around and see what it looks like. Let's come up a little bit. And they did a pretty good job towards the edge of the map. If you look, a lot of these orange bushes are really towards the edge, so you kind of get that feeling of a stop. There is no collisions on the border, which is awesome, in case you want to go cliff diving. But this is like, again, it's this kind of hybrid between a wilderness map with a bunch of very square fields in places. So very kind of sharp edge fields, not very contoured, which is fine. If this is the kind of field you like, welcome to this map. And it's got some zones for trees. So like a lot of the open areas have, you know, hickory and elm trees or oak trees, and then these forestry areas have the really nice trees that we love, which are these are the lodgepole pines. But there's not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of trees in these big open areas, and they provided, the map makers provided some really nice looking multi-textured dirt roads, like with the kind of dirt and the gravel in the middle, which I kind of like. Those are nice dirt roads. And they follow the contour of the land pretty well. There's a few places where there's trees in the road, but, you know, that's fine. Yeah, these are the lodgepole pines here. A couple other places on the map, they're using other trees. And then we get into like grassland areas. They're using, this is the base game grass from Riverbend Springs. And again, oak and hickory. Is it hickory? Yeah. Oak and shagbark hickory for these open areas, and then the forestry areas have the nice trees that we like for forestry. And again, a lot of open land. It's not super decorated. It feels like it's randomization script decorated, right? Where it's a pretty consistent but random placement of trees and bushes. They don't really seem very patched, which is what happens when you kind of paint around. But overall, it's interesting. So this top part of the map is more kind of hilly. There's just some pretty good hills here. I mean, if you look at the difference in height here, you can kind of see it here. This lower area here, and then an upper area up here. This area starts to incorporate both the shagbark hickories and the lodgepole pines together. So some of them are going to be forestable, some of them not. And then this lake down here, which is actually kind of a cool feature, as far as I'm concerned. You've got this really nice river here. You've got a bridge over the river all the way down here that is floating in space. Whether they decide to fix that or not, who knows? But it is definitely floating in space. But it's still a bridge, so it works as a bridge. And you've got, on the other side of the river, you got another flat area. Again, more hickories that can be shredded, but some fields that could be expanded. I mean, if you look at this field 23, it includes a significant amount of area around the field. So field 23, the one I'm over right now, isn't that big, but you could actually use all of the land. And if you wanted to buy these outside areas, you can. The unbuyable land is free, so the roads and the water areas is all unbuyable. I like that. I like that they took the time to make the road network buyable, if you want, and just make it free in case you wanted to like move the roads because they're not actually, they're painted roads. So if we look at here at the roads, you can also see where they decorated a little bit more. There's meadow here, and there's meadow with weeds and stuff like that over here, which is nice. But if this is just a painted road, you could totally buy this land, buy the road, merge through it, not a problem. Got a BGA down here, and I do like, personally, I like the look of this kind of lower land water feature area. There's even an island that you can't get to. So you'd have to build your way over to this island if you wanted to build onto it, like to build a bridge over there or whatnot. There is an open area right here down. It's pretty flat right by the water. So if we do get placeable boat systems or something like that, that would be pretty cool. But I think they've done a nice job with like creating a very rocky area here. If we look as we fly through, like this is a very well painted, personally, and textured rocky area that looks legit, but without adding any extra stuff, because there's nothing extra here. So you get rid of these trees, you can smooth all of this out, put a field on this rocky area here, as long as you spend the money to smooth it out, because there's none of the like rocks that the game puts in there. But yeah, I like it. I mean, this lake area looks good, and then I think the only thing, not necessarily, I wouldn't fault the map, but when it comes to including productions, which we didn't touch on, there's contracts, plenty of contracts, also for wood transport and deadwood, and there's pretty much all of the productions available. Some of them are the little mini productions, some of them are the big productions, but we have the piano thing, which is, not many people include the piano thing. Not many people include the rope maker. That's another one that I haven't seen on very many maps. But the rest, in the Cooper, we've got 2 Coopers, just in case you really want to make barrels. So that's pretty cool. But I still consider this kind of a beta map, because this area here, which is, again, grabbing some stuff from Riverbend Springs, this is the general store from Riverbend Springs. These are a lot of the placeable stuff, but there's no decorations whatsoever around this factory area. It's just placed down. And that would, to me, make it feel like maybe this map isn't fully ready yet. We do have a few floating trees in places. Not many, but there's one for sure. Here's another, like, production-ish area that's a little bit more decorated, but still not really. Sell points that are just big square lots with it placed in the corner. The cafe with a fence around it is the closest they've gotten to decoration. It is what it is. They do give all these things available, so if you wanted to come in here and decorate and make things look pretty, go for it. You can use placeable assets to do that, and it shouldn't be a problem. So here we go, and this is the rest of the production stuff. Again, just kind of sitting here all down production row, which is fine, but there's still kind of a lack of, it doesn't really, it just feels like it's just dropped there. It's not really part of the map, if that makes any sense. But you do get these like little dirt tracks in the hills, right? And the dirt tracks are not flat, right? They contour with the land, but these dirt tracks are how you're going to get to a lot of these forestry areas. So careful coming around these corners and stuff like that with your big rig. I don't know, it's an interesting map. They have this, they also have, and I don't know if this is intended to be a dirt track, like an off-road track, but like this would be awesome for Dom's Jeep. Let me turn off flight mode real quick. You got this path through here that comes up along the hills, and this looks like a rock crawling path, doesn't it? I noticed this when I was flying around. I'm like, what is this here for? There's no purpose for this track, but this looks like a rock crawling path. Like, I don't have Dom's Jeep on here, but this would be perfect for Dom's Jeep. Or any other, like, rock crawling type Jeep. Like, whoever the map maker is, they did an amazing job trying to make this. Daniel Vess, I should say his name is. He did an amazing job trying to make this, like, kind of off-road map through the off-road area, through this part of the map. It feels like an off-road track. I don't know. It doesn't really. The thing is, I would say that it might be for rainwater. But if it would be rainwater, it'd be puddled. There would be places for it to puddle. And this thing is just kind of all over the place. This feels like the map maker's an off-roader and he wants an off-roading track. In all honesty, like that's just what it looks like, right? And it runs. It's really, really long. It runs all the way over here. It goes up in this area. There's a loop that comes up here. And it comes out here, and then it smooths out and goes back to the regular land. So I think it's there specifically for off-roading, which is not a gold star, but maybe a silver star on this map for something a little bit extra, something that you don't normally see. It's there. It's drivable-ish. But you'd really need something like Ridiculous Dominic's Jeep. By the way, hi Ridiculous Dominic. Thanks for jumping in. But that's it. That's about this map. This one's called Yonder Acres by Daniel Vess. There are no dependencies. It's mostly complete. I think it's playable the way it is, which is nice to see. It's actually playable. There aren't that many things missing, and it would be a fun map to play on and a fun map to expand. I mean, you could expand this whole area here just by chopping down some trees with the T-Rex. This area up here, this whole forestry area, is all the good trees. You're going to make millions off of those trees, regardless of economy. And then you could put fields on the area. So it's not bad. The one thing they also did is they also took some time to make the outer border nice. And it's not what we normally see, which is normally we see these outer border areas all being the Riverbend Springs area, right? This one is not. It has its own, which is cool. It's nice. But that's gonna be Back Yonder Acres by Daniel Vess, and I think it's not a bad map. If you're looking for something, it's definitely different, and it's definitely something we've never seen before. So if you're looking for something different, maybe check it out. I'm hoping he sends it to ModHub because it looks like it's pretty much ready to go to ModHub with some extra decorations, maybe. Farmer Mike, I saw you, by the way. Yes, it could be for rainwater. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for everyone who's joining in and coming in. Towboat Fish, welcome in. Morning, afternoon. It's morning for me. Afternoon for those on the East Coast. Gotta drink something. So this is Back Yonder Acres. The only one thing about Back Yonder Acres is the screenshot that he took here. I don't know if you see this. It has like this little like click here to do window mode. Like you can fix your screenshot. I would put the off-roading road in the screenshot, but you know, it's just me. I really like that off-roading road, especially that I've been messing with Dom's Jeep for a couple days now. All right, what are we doing next? We'll go in order. I guess we'll go in alphabetical order. Death Valley is gonna be the next one. I'm gonna put up my money for this one. All right, so Death Valley is by Thierry. And I believe we've seen a few mods and or maps from Thierry before in FS22. Someone can confirm that. THIERY. I believe I've seen his name before. And I like this start screen picture. I hope, and I haven't gotten go forward to wintertime, but I hope that it would get a ton of snow in winter based on this start photo, right? That's what you hope. You're like, oh, cool. A snowy area. This map is so weird. Oh, Back Yonder Acres by Daniel Vess. Ridiculous Dominic. And all of the names of the map as well as the map author are in the video description. So if you, I didn't do that for the previous ones, but I did that today. It's in the video description. It's also with how many dependencies the map has, because that matters to some people. Let's get into Death Valley. This one's going to take a little while. And starting off, there are almost no errors in the log for this one that aren't base game errors. Like, this is a clean log. And if there are any errors, they're going to be from mods, but they're not related to the map itself. Except for this part. So this is like some weird terrain decals, And there's a ton of them. I don't know what those are. I don't know if those are like the trains or whatnot. But these are all warnings. They're not bad. But if you look, that path, routes, lane T, junction, straight line, join node, join node, join node. Like, that's a really weird node path. I don't know what's going on there. I think it's the road network. But, and I'm assuming that's fixed. It's just saying, hey, a terrain decal that has collision enabled, which is a really easy fix and you'd never notice it. But there's a ton of these. But I think these are all just the road network, so I'm just going to ignore them for now. All right. So we're on a 4X map. And there are 170-ish. 169 is the biggest number I can see right here off the top of the bat. 170-ish farmlands and or fields. So I'm thinking about 130 fields, 170 farmlands. There are some forestry areas. But you start off... I'm going to close the mini-map for this. You start off in the middle of a lake, standing on a pole. These weird, like, pole things sticking out of the ground with 2 boats. Look at that. A nice canoe and a nice inflatable fishing boat, I guess. Kind of, sort of. I don't know what that is. River rafting boat? I'm not sure. But this area where you start in at, you're like, what the heck is going on? I don't know. And with a telephone. With just a weird ass telephone. I don't know what's up with the telephone. So maybe there's something going on with the telephone. I don't know. I'm just going to get out of this lake. So one thing I will say about this map right away is it's very nicely painted. There's definitely some time and effort taken to make these areas look as nice as possible with the paint that you have. The only downside that I've seen so far on this map is this one spot right here where you log in at, which you see right as soon as you come in, and the NPCs are walking through the ground. So the NPC path is below the ground level, so it makes it look like they're walking through the ground. Actually, let's check if it's a collectible. Is it? It might be. Let's look. Yeah, it looks. It has a trigger. Oh, you know what? This is a collectible. I think. Collect R. So, that is the thing from the Grain Elevator Museum. We're going to remember that. But this is a collectible from the Grain Elevator Museum, which is something off of Riverbend, right? Okay, so you don't really see the scope of where you are by this little area you spawned in at. It's kind of a cool little park area with some bridges and some NPCs walking around and an ice cream stand and some benches. You don't really see, like, the scope of things. But if we fly up, you can start to see the scope of this map. I'm still going up. And as you can see, as we fly up, there's the outer border of the map right here. This map is huge. And if we open our mini-map again, we are close to the left edge of the map. Relatively close. There appears to be this is a school bus. But you've got lots of fields, lots of rolling hills, squirrel, towboat, Rusty. Lots of rolling hills. You got some square fields and some not square fields. You've got trees everywhere. They did import the spruce trees from FS22. Everyone seems to be doing that just because they're not part of the base game. And you've got lots of interesting areas. So, I mean, this is a very big map. And remember, we are on a 4X map. So, the size of things may seem big, but it's... yeah. So as we get into it, we also got some fields that are not standard sizes. We have these fields like this one that wraps around. Workers are going to hate that field. But it's a field nonetheless. But if you look a lot, there's some nice rolling hills. Personally, I think this is great. My opinion, I like the rolling hills and the contoured land. It's not all flat. We've seen plenty of flat maps, and some people like the flat maps. Personally, not a fan. But there's some really nice decorations here, and like a lot of these places, like the Hardware Bob store, which is just a sell point, right? They've taken the time to decorate it with fences and stuff around the building, and and making these things feel real. You've got a road running up along the side of the map, along this whole edge of the side of the map, and it's not bad. There is no collision on the border, I don't think, because I would run into it. No, there is a border. Oh wow, holy crap! I don't know what that means in real life in US dollars, but thank you so much, Farmer Mike. I greatly appreciate it. I do have something to send to you, and I'll be sending it to you later today. Oh my gosh, thank you, Farmer Mike, for the donation. That's a big donation, so thank you very much. I think that's the big donation color. Thank you so much. Getting back to the map, you've got some fields, you've got some trees in between the fields, which I'm assuming can be merged. If we look at the farmland, yeah, there is gaps in between the fields. And so this is the gap area. So if we click on this open area for $38 million, yeah, I know it's a Danish krone. I just don't know the translation rate is. Either way, thank you so much for the donation. This is probably one of my only gripes about this map, is that you can't merge fields. So unless you have $38 million, you can't merge fields. And to me, that's a bummer, because there's so many fields here, like where we are, like we're over, like all of these fields right here. Like, it would be super awesome to be able to take, I'm on a 4X map. What if I want to do big open fields? There's nothing blocking these except for some trees from being merged together. But I can't merge them unless I buy that $38 million plot of land. Now, of course, if you're on PC, just give yourself that plot of land, and you'll have all of the in-between lands, and you can do what you want, right? And of course, since you're on a 4X map, you're going to be on PC, so which farmland do we say it was? It's this one right here. It is farmland 146. So if you're on PC, this is how to do it, just in case you didn't know. GS farmland buy 146. Now I own 146. I didn't spend any money. Now I own all of the in-between lands. Right? But it's also going to give you a ton of land that you could do a lot with. There's a lot of forestry in some of these places. So to me, it's kind of a little bit of a cheat to buy that land. And I would prefer to see each farmland abut the next farmland. That would be my preference. But everyone plays differently. Everyone plays on their own. The biggest downside with having the fields set up, the farmlands set up the way they are, like this one, right? 96. On 96, if I'm down here mowing, and this is just what the downside of this is. If I'm down here mowing and I have a tram line set up, or mowing or whatever, when I pass over this little area right here, that's not part of the farmland, I don't own that. And so it's going to give me that stupid warning on the screen, you don't own this farmland, you don't own this farmland. And so, like, literally the edge of the fields is the edge of the farmland also. And so you're going to get that weirdness where you're constantly getting that error message. Now, half of that is Giants for putting that error message in place, but half of them also the map author for making it so that you can't merge fields. That's just neither here nor there. We've got a lumber company up here. It's a little blah, but it's there. Here's the And now this is the first thing I've seen, right? I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna drop down. This is the first map I've seen personally that has the Grain Elevator Museum. So the Grain Elevator Museum was something that was introduced in River Run Springs, and this is the first map that I've seen. I don't know what this song is. That has incorporated the Grain Elevator Museum into the map. And as you can see, it's waiting for parts. It's waiting for wood beam and planks long. And it's a lot of the things that have been added to this map have been added in this kind of like I'm going to carve out a flat area in another area just to keep it level with other things. And that's a map decision. It's okay. It's there. So, I mean, if you're looking for something to do, there's lots and lots to do on this map. We've got another sell point here. We've got some of these kind of stepped farmland areas where the farmland itself is steep, and then you've got a steep drop off with some rocky cliffs to another farmland. But not all the farmland is like that. Some of it is like this, where it's a very steep and, you know, angled field. This is going to be not an easy field to harvest parsnips in. Just telling you that right now. That's a rolling hill. That's my kind of farmland. I like the challenge of those kind of hills and farmlands. Most of the north side of the map are all these big open fields, and they did a really good job making logical sized fields for the most part. Can I? Okay, so we can get to the edge of the map, but we do have fields that border right up on the edge of the map. So if you're okay with being on the edge of the map, then you got those fields. The map author did a good job of filling up all of the space with trees, whether those trees are nice to look at trees or not. It's up to you to judge, but there's not much other decoration other than trees. So you got a lot of times where there's perfectly straight lines of trees that may or may not be floating, significantly floating. Lots of floating trees. And then also, if you look from down below, those spruce trees look great. But if you look at them from up above, they're in like almost perfectly straight lines. And we have scripts for map making to make more randomized trees, like in here. But I don't like to see the perfectly straight trees that are all exactly the same tree. That, to me, it's pretty easy from a map making perspective to add more variation, but granted, there's so much other stuff going in this map that maybe that's an afterthought to the map maker. And this is another example of time where they spent some time actually making decorations look legit. This is going to be some kind of sell point, stump point right there, and they spent time making it look legit. Everything looks very clean and polished, but legit, with some fences and lots of trees that are acting as borders. There's this really cool area over on this side of the map where you got these like water areas. Now the water sometimes acts weird, where it's like bouncing. You see that? So I create my waves, but then they bounce back off of nothing, which is kind of weird. I don't know why that's happening. I don't know if it's because this this water feature is multiple water planes together or something. But I do like the additional water features. I do like the way they're built. They've gone in and added some bridges in some interesting places that look cool, except for like big, huge gaps going into or out of the bridges. Those are going to not be necessarily fun to drive. But with all the water features they've added some bridges. Some of the water is, again, flowing in weird ways. Not sure I understand it. It is what it is. This is an interesting one. They have this like raised platform road, which I believe is from the European map on the outside. And it's designed to be a train road, as you can see from here, but they didn't actually finish the train. But it's a cool idea, for sure. I don't know, overall, I like the look of this map. There's a lot to do. All of these things. And there's also some stuff I've never seen before. Like this, I've never seen before. Somebody tell me where this is from. This looks like a Giants decorated asset, but I've never seen this. And this looks like it should be a construction site, but it's not. So this looks like a cool construction site that you might be able to be building and help them rebuild this building or this church or whatever it is. And there's construction site that look like a construction site, but there's nothing there. And there's no road to get to it because the only road to get to it is this train line. It's cool double train line, which is nice to see. Again, this is the train line running around the map. So there's another train line here, but it's not actually a train line. The train line only runs on the diagonal. If you can see the train right there in the middle of the map, the train line only runs in the diagonal. Now we're here in the lower left-hand corner of the map, and we've got some interesting stuff going on down here. We've got this weird winding path through the swamps. We've got the riverboat dredge. This is the dredge from Riverbend Springs, which looks like it's set up in a very legit way, and the stone spawner, right? But it's like a dead end. Or not dead end, but it's like this really kind of odd road. It's not even flat-ish. It's flat-ish. Like, to get to that stone that's free, you're going to have to go through all of this, which doesn't look fun. Even, like, if you look at the ground, like this right here, like, trying to get through this area with a dump truck to get the stone to use in the productions that obviously require it somewhere else on the map feels like a pain in the butt, honestly. Oh, sorry, Mike. I will message you later. Thank you so much for jumping in. Well, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool feature. I like how they kind of separated a section of the map specifically for that that visual asset from Riverbend Springs. And then again here this is, I think, could be done better. This is a forest with a lot of spruce trees, but they're all in perfectly straight lines. There's no variation. I like forests with more variation to them. More of a challenge, I guess you could say. There's another water area right here. We've got some boats that are not moving. They're just static. But taking in and using some of the river assets from Riverbend Springs and making it into like a little camping area. Like this area looks cool. Like little stilted camp houses. Where are these from? I've never seen these before. These are cool assets. I want to use those somewhere. Like stilted decked farmhouses and stuff. That looks cool. Maybe that's from Riverbend Springs. I just never noticed it. It looks like a lot of the stuff from here was pulled from Riverbend Springs, which is fine. It's all base game assets, which means it keeps the file size down. Got a nice open area here for setting up for your forestry empire. Plenty of forestry. Plenty of... Oh, is this what I think it is? Oh, like a challenging road. This almost looks like an off-roading road, but it's more flat than I thought. And then another water area at a higher level. And some greenhouses and some stepped rice fields. Like, this map's got everything. And that's one of the things that kind of stuck out to me, is this map kind of has everything. It's got some crazy forestry areas, lots of water sources, lots of, like, roads that go under bridges and over bridges and through the woods, and some weird kind of like cliffy looking rivers and stuff like that. But even stuff like this, like it looks like here's the Riverbend Springs boat dock, I think. And I think it goes from here to here. I haven't gone through it, but it looks like it's designed to go across the map like that. Yeah, again, overall, I think Unknown Kansas Boy has hit it right on the money. Overall, there's so much to do in this map. A lot of it is pretty well. Oh my gosh, they even have the temple here. There's so much to do, and I do like all of the different levels. Personally, I really like all the different levels. I think they could have done some. They could probably do more with the decoration, but this is one of those maps. Especially, oh my gosh, so much stuff to find. Look at this. You've got this little area over here. What the heck? And this little like hiking path through a rock cliff face. So cool. And a waterfall with the multiple levels of lakes. Again, there's so much going on here. I think this is a good map that highlights not only that you can build a 4X map with no dependencies. There are no dependencies for this map. It's using all base game assets. The size of the map is pretty big because it's very well detailed from a detail perspective, but it's got everything you need. And it's got character to it for sure. Some decisions I don't necessarily agree with, but it's got a lot of character. The one big one for me, honestly, is the farmlands and not being able to merge fields. But if you're okay solving that the way I just showed you guys how to solve it, go for it. We're down in the town area here, and we've got some like the bakery, we've got a dairy, we've got the paper mill. You know, we've got all of these different productions. They're not all on the same level. They're not all flat. You kind of have to get to them. Sometimes you can't even see one per. Like this paper mill. Where is it? The paper mill. This is like hiding. Like if you're driving down the road here, you've got no idea there's a paper mill up there. Right? But it's got everything. I mean, if we look at the list of stuff, there's a bunch of there's a cow pasture, sheep barn, chicken, no pigs, so sheep, chicken, and cows on the map already. But there's only like 5 or 6. There's still some space to place some of your own. There's a bunch of contracts available. It looks like they have everything, even like because there's so many fields, you even get a grass tedding one. That's a rare one. You don't see too many of those. I don't see stone rock crushing. I do see wood transport, and I do see deadwood, so they do have both of those types of maps. And then if we look at the production menu, we only own a sawmill to start off, and we have every base game thing you can think of for productions. Only downside is they didn't actually properly attribute the icons for many of them. That's a Giants thing. They basically set up so there's no default icon, and you have to add your own icon because they want it to look like this. I don't know what Cemences means, but maybe that's just a typo. But there's lots and lots of productions available. And that's pretty much back where we started. For the starting farm, I will show you the starting farm real quick. We have a Fent farm. So this is your starting farm right here in the middle of the map. We've got 2 construction projects, a small shed, 2 small sheds, 3 small sheds, sorry. 3 small sheds to build construction projects. You're starting out with a Fent harvester. This is a nice, I like this starting setup. It's unique. Fent harvester, Fent 728 Vario, which is probably one of most people's like favorite tractor. The Fent 516 Vario. Got a what is it called? Not a bale shed, a hayloft. I always forget the name of that one. Got a hayloft. We've got Walter standing in the middle of the field, punch you in the face. I want to be able to punch Walter in the face. And then we've got the rest of the yard, which is what it is. Corn header, bale grabs, front end loader, a header for your harvester, a bunch of equipment, horse equipment, and I think from a... Come on, you go to the map. You own a bunch of stuff. So we own a sheep barn, a cow barn. Actually, we should walk over there. 2 beehives. We own this field here with a sawmill. So they want you to kind of like start off by working over here at your sawmill, I think. I don't know where I just went. Up here at the top of the hill. Here's your beehives. And silo. And another barn. I love how... Personally, I really like how things are on multiple levels. We got our mowing equipment in here. I like the multiple level look of things. I think that's very interesting and very unique. And not many map makers will actually... really go for the multi-levels. The only downside I'm seeing here is these trees are the 35mm spruce, right? But that is not harvestable tree. That is a scaled tree. Someone has scaled that tree to be bigger. So these massive, massive spruce trees are not going to be tree harvestable, even though it's a spruce, without a modded tree harvester. We look down the hill here. We've got our sheep pasture. It's part of the main farm. Nice custom sheep pasture. And then there's a cow barn down the road. And another field. So, I mean, this is probably one of the most complex... Where's that a cow barn? I think that's a cow barn. There's sheep here somewhere. I don't know. This is one of the most complex starting areas that I've seen. And complex starting farms on multiple levels. Hey, Richard, welcome in. You know, I don't know. I don't actually know if it's too much starting equipment. I think it's pretty standard. The standard starting equipment for most maps, even on base game maps, they've just replaced some of the types of equipment. But most base game maps, you get 2 tractors, a harvester, and enough equipment to get started without having to buy anything. So as long as you get enough equipment to get started on your own land without having to buy anything, I think that's enough equipment. I don't think that's too much. I have seen some with way too much starting equipment, and that's neither here nor there. But as we were seeing in first person, a lot of these trees, like this one, are definitely stretched and resized, and that's not going to be harvestable by a tree harvester. We got a bunch of other maps to get to, so I'm going to go into the next one. But that was Death Valley by Thierry, and I really hope this one makes the mod hub, because I think it's a good map, and I think there's a lot going on. This is your starting farm. It's just like there's so much going on here. And there's a route down here to get to a selling point, a train station, which kind of goes through your farm, which is odd. But there's plenty of trees on your like these trees right here, all harvestable for your starting farm, and there's your starting farmhouse. I don't know. I like it. It's definitely got its own character. It's definitely got its own flavor, and it's got just about everything you need. Like it. Quit. Yes. We got a couple more. And we also have a failure on quitting. That's weird. I don't know what that is. Sorry about that. The game totally just died. Hey, SMB wanting welcome in. You gotta fly just flying over. And there's so much to do I don't know what that exit error is. I do believe that I don't have the extended info mod on that playthrough. I don't think. I might. I don't remember. All right, we're gonna get started. We got a couple more maps to go through. I think we've gone through 2 or 3 of them so far, and I have 6. So delete, delete. Yes. Okay. What do we do? Death Valley. Okay. This one is going to be the controversial one. And I'm showing it because it's interesting. I'm not showing it because it was done well. And I don't know why my game is not showing full screen. So the Lindlar map is being shared via third-party scraper sites. That's where the author is sharing it. He's actively sharing it on those sites and responding to comments on those sites. I believe I found it on fs25.net. One of the downsides of this map is that since the beginning, it's had issues with dependencies. And what I mean by that is that, like the first version of the map that I tried to download, I couldn't even get started because it called out a bunch of dependencies that didn't exist. There weren't links for the dependencies. They weren't marked out as dependencies. Nothing. You just couldn't start the map unless you went and hunted for those errors in your log to find the mods that were referenced, right? To me, that's a huge failure. And then as of right now, there are 22 dependencies. Now, of those dependencies, 4 of them are not even listed, and they're not even available on ModHub. So 18 of the dependencies come from ModHub, but 4 of them don't. And then the map author literally lists in his description, it says in the description, basically it says, hey, you're going to get a bunch of dependencies automatically downloaded from ModHub, and then there's 4 more that you have to go find yourself. Without listing where they are or what they are, and they're in other languages too. So the zip file name that it tells you, hey, you need this map, it doesn't even relate to the name of the mod, and it's in another language, which makes it very, very hard to figure out how to get it. Doing the research to figure out how to get into this map took me a good 20 minutes just to be able to get into it. Now, if we look at our overview map and our overview detail map, this is a not obviously, but somewhat obviously, terrain accurate map. Probably, and I think I'm pretty sure about this, was originally using the Map for FS program to generate the terrain for this map, right? But I think it's got some interesting things going for it, and that's the only reason I wanted to show it off. I think this is still definitely in development. It's not great, but it's also not perfect. There's a ton of farmhouses, and the farmhouses are called out. Technically, you're not supposed to see farmhouses unless you buy the land, but that's just the way it is. So there's a couple, I don't know what people call them, bugs. But yeah, your starting farm is up here in this general area. There's some equipment all over these fields, but you don't own those fields. So there's just equipment all over the place up here. It's a little bit scattered. We'll show it to you in a little bit. But as you can see, 200 plus fields, 200, I think they're using all 255 farmlands. And which is nice because a lot of stuff is broken out. There is an unbuyable land you can't get to. Like, so this is farmland 188, 187, and then this space right here in between 76 and 187 is unbuyable. That's farmland 255. You can't buy this plot of land. And then the farmlands are, again, just like the last map, where in almost all cases, the farmlands are just the farmland itself, with very little outside borders around it. I'll keep the map up, even though it's a little bit confusing. And then we have a big mixture here between FS22 and FS25 and some FS19 textures. Like these mowers are super low res. But we have a dealership with some, I don't know. Right? But this equipment is showing up. All this equipment that's here is not owned. You can't drive it. It's just here. But I can get into this truck that's on a lift to be fixed. I can get into it, but I can't use it. And I can't get out of it. So I'm going to have to buy something to get out of it. Okay. Because I don't own anything, so I had to buy something to be able to even get out of it. I don't know, maybe let's try it. Let's try, David. This tractor, can I can enter it, but I can't reset it. So like this is the John Deere 9RX that was in the display window. It's there. So there's an actual vehicle in the map, but you can't get to it or use it. And then there's a bunch of these signs all over here that are the placeable sign pack. And it says these are like detail, no parking sign. These are showing up in your items. So the way, instead of actually having them as placeable, like they're actually having them as placeables. So you can remove them, I guess. I don't know. It's this weird sloped area for the shop. Very tight gate to get out of the shop. You aren't getting out of this thing with the header attached to your tractor. It's not happening. And then there's I like the decoration. I like the meadow. This is the alpine meadow, which we don't see very much of. But this is the kind of the meadow that would be on the European map, which is Lanka. And then you get a bunch of spots like this, which I don't know what this is. It's nothing. It's just not painted. There's no grass. So some spots like this that are just kind of not finished. But we're never going to get through this map if we drive. But you can see that there is some significant terrain changes on this map. I like the blacktop. That's kind of nice. And there's also a significant amount of decoration on this map. So this map has done a good job, in my mind, of decoration. So let's turn flight mode just so we can see the whole map. And this is a 4X map. So that's the other thing to remember. 4X map. But it's well decorated, honestly. Now these are all not buyable houses. They're not editable. They're not removable. Because most of them you can't even buy the land that they're on. But then we have these big open fields, the rolling hills, rolling fields, and then these like little like housing areas. It feels legit. It feels real, and I think it's because they're trying to replicate a real area. But a lot of these areas you can't buy and you can't do anything with. They're just here for decoration, which is fine. It's a decision. We have the gas stations, and we've got this road, which is interesting looking. I've never seen a road like this before without lines in it, but it's there. And they took some time to make some curvy roads to go up hills and stuff like that. They didn't do weather. Weather's not done yet, but they did. You do have these houses that are set up here. with decorations around them and, yada yada. Most of those decorations are taken from base game, just because that's how I do it. And they also brought in the spruce trees, the really tall, skinny spruce trees. Yeah, tall, skinny spruce trees. And the not skinny spruce trees. They brought in both those spruce trees from 22, which, from what I understand, I haven't checked in 1.6, but from what I used to know, they did have issues. So you got a lot of these open areas with farmlands around. You've got sell points and or farms set up. Lots of fields, lots to do, lots and lots of forestry, but very... If you look at the forestry from above, it's nicely randomly positioned, but it's all the same exact size tree, all the same tree. You're 100% 35 meter spruce trees, go. Like, there's a lot. But you've also got a lot of these big open plains here. And are these buyable? I forget. Like, where I am is not buyable. Like, you've got little bits and pieces that are buyable. Like, but this area that I'm literally over right now, which is a big open field, is not buyable. And I think that part of the problem is they've already hit the limit with the number of fields, with the way they built the fields. So that you can't break all of this up into the right number of lands because the game doesn't support it. So you'd actually have to actually edit the game engine to change the maximum number of fields for this map to really work right. The one thing I like about this map, and again, these fields feel very unfinished. They feel like there's fields here because there was fields here in real life, but a lot of it is just like, you can't get to it. There's no houses around. It's just like, I'm not sure what's going on. I love the terrain. I love the angles of the terrain. I love the rolling hills. Like, some of these sightlines are really nice, but they're very blah. Which could be good if that's what you like. Here's a nice little area that you could build on that is not flat at all, but it's there for you to build on. And we're a 4x map, so look at all of these trees. This is like a forestry heaven map. I don't know how many trees are on this map, but there's got to be 30,000-40,000 trees on this map. Again, and they're all the 35-meter spruce trees, so if you like that, you like that. They did a good job with the port area, with the container ship coming in with lots of containers already on the container ship. This looks like a nice little port area, which is cool. Another place to build on. More stuff. And then even this area over here is purchasable. This is all forestry purchasable. And there's even like a little hamlet here back in the middle of nowhere because it's there in real life. So they've done a really good job trying to replicate the existing stuff. This is a first. I haven't seen this on anyone else's map, but they set up the play area that you build on Riverbend Springs as a play area in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere. I don't know why, but it looks kind of cool. This is the only time this forest right here, I actually have to zoom out a little bit. This forest right here is the only forest where they've added some variation to the trees, where you not only have the spruce trees, but you have the dead spruce trees. So you've got two variations of spruce trees. There's a lot of trees. Like, even just this area is a lot of trees. But if you look at the map as a whole, there's a ton of trees. So if you don't care about anything else and just want to do some forestry on here, feel free. Some interesting areas like this, which are here for, I don't know. I'm not sure why. But they've actually spent a lot of time making these little township areas. That's what I'll call it. I'll call it a township. Making things look legit, making the roads contoured to the land, decorating some of the houses, trash bins out by the road for trash pickup day. You know, little stuff like that that makes it feel lived in, and lots and lots and lots and lots of farmlands. Now, I believe, and this is just my opinion, but I believe that this is still in beta. I think this is like beta 5 for this. What did he list it as? Do I have listing? Is beta 5. And mainly because of the dependencies, this is still a map that most people wouldn't play. Most people wouldn't even bother. Because the dependencies are so messed up that getting into this map and actually starting playing is going to be kind of a pain in the ass. No starting farm. Even though there look like plenty of farm houses that are placed around the map. But there's no technically starting farm, I think. Hold on. Farmland. No. It's hard to tell because a few of the crop colors are close to the you're buying land. So no starting land. Start wherever you want. Most of the map is buyable, not all of it. But like this big forestry area with the dead trees, $28 million. Yeah. Like $28 million. Granted, there's 50 or $60 million worth of trees in that land, at least. Probably like $100 million worth of trees just in that forest. But I think for what they're trying to do, if I look at it, if I take a step back, what are they trying to do? This person is trying to take this kind of wild area. It's called Lindlar by DerGamler83. They're trying to take this realistic area with realistic dem and make a map out of it. And I think, and I will applaud them for doing and trying really hard. It's definitely a playable map. Whether you agree with some of the stuff is up to you. There's 3 bakeries for some unknown reason, 2 carpentries, and a sawmill. So obviously he's wood focused here. But there's no coopery, there's no there's no paper factory, but there are a few of the other ones, which is fine. And overall, the map looks, when you're driving through the town areas, right? Actually, let's turn around where all the road signs are. When you're driving, like here in the middle, you're driving through the town areas, and they've got a lot of these deco people. One of the mods that's required for this map are deco humans, essentially. And so, like the booth babes in the John Deere dealership, there's a lot of deco people just standing around like those construction workers. But from a look and feel, like I drive around this map. Driving around. I don't know whether I'm supposed to drive on the left or right. I don't know. Got some dude just walking along the side of the road for no reason. I think from a vision standpoint, how the map looks, like these sight lines are really nice. Honestly, they're these nice rolling fields. It's some definitely challenging land, challenging fields. I'm going to keep an eye on this one, I think, and see how it progresses as the map maker gets better at building maps and gets a little bit more time under his belt perfecting this map that he has apparently been working on since the beginning of Farm Sim 25. I think it's got a lot of potential. And it's also my kind of map. So how well the performance works, even with all those trees, we're still running at a solid 40 FPS. I do have a top end system, so me running at 40 FPS is pretty substantial. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. You got all, and we're definitely using the train decals because these roads are not flat. But overall, I think this would be an interesting one to play on. It does have some potential. And we'll see what the map author does with it. Those have collisions. We may come back to this later. But some of these fields are going to be pretty interesting to harvest. You know, like this one I'm right next to now. This is a canola field. Where am I? Canola field 55, $2.1 million, 13 hectares. So it's also expensive. But anyways, that was Lindlar by Dergamler 83. I think I'm pronouncing that right. We still got two more that both of them I'm looking forward to. All right, we got lots of going on today for sure. Delete. And the next one on our map, our alphabetical list, and they're actually both the rest of the maps are South American maps. Okay. This one we've had before. So Matopiba, I believe we've had in earlier versions of the game. I know for a fact we had this in 22. I wanted to play it in 22, but I just couldn't. It was kind of came up in a time when I was busy with other things. But the same thing happened in 22, that the map author made a change or made a decision in this map that I don't agree with, and was part of the reason I didn't play the map. No errors in the log, pretty clean errors in the log. I would expect this one to end up being on ModHub. First of all, number one, here's the first weird thing. You start in at 6 a.m. I haven't seen any other maps starting at 6 a.m. There's only one or two of them that I've seen start at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. start is a really weird thing. There's a reason for it. The other thing is, this is also the first map to actually do South America properly, in that we're in South America, and it's February. We're starting in February, not August, when we normally start, but February, because we are starting the Southern Hemisphere. So this is the first map that I've seen that does the Southern Hemisphere stuff properly. Now, if we're here in the town, if you look, we've got definitely Southern Hemisphere power poles. Those will look like I-beams. Very, very nicely decorated town. There is a sleep trigger at this house. And this looks like a nice... Oh my gosh, this is a really nice building. Look at this. This is a really nicely done garage. I like that garage. It looks like a header trailer there. I think we own... Do we own this land? Hold on. Yes, we own this land right here. And this is our farmhouse. And this is our garage. Nice open garage. Nicely decorated. Nice lights. We have a header trailer. Why do we have a header trailer? Okay, well, let's go find the tractor. Let's go through town. Now, the reason we started off at 6 a.m. is it's sunrise. And right about now, we're going to see why we start off at 6 a.m. Sunrise comes up over the hills. Look at this. This area, this town, is beautifully decorated, and it was in 22 also, but it looks even better now. We have some custom buildings, custom restaurants, gas station. We've got some decoration, but it's not overly done. Obviously, we have the... Is that Brazil? I think it's Brazilian flag. We've got the FS25 gas station. I like this. I like a lot. I hope they release this as a placeable. The 25 gas station. That's cute and cool. Lizard Logistics. I wish that logo wasn't stretched, but this is going to be your pallet warehouse kind of thing. I like the road textures. I like this ground texture, the dark gravel, or kind of almost brown gravel. Got a dairy. And we're stuck in this little valley here. We've got the case dealership, which isn't open yet. Again, one of the first things we've seen where we have a dealership. It's the Matopiba case dealership. I like the baskets for the trash out front. That's cool. Where you can walk in, and there's a human-sized gate, so you might be able to get a tractor through this. But you're like, let's see where the tractors spawn. Like, you can buy stuff early in the day. buy, yes. And then we're going to buy this because there's a reason. Buy, yes. So this is our dealership. Some really, really reflective floors. And this is where your vehicles spawn in, behind the dealership. I really love this tile, this painted ground texture. There's some awesome, awesome ground textures on this map. Hey, Joe. Welcome in, Joe. Thanks for being here. And Craig Shiplet, welcome in. Thanks for being here, both of you guys. Craig, I haven't seen before, but welcome in. If this is your first time, Craig, thank you for being here. Joe, you've been here a lot, and thank you for your recent upgrade to your membership status. I greatly appreciate that. Now we're here at the dealership, but the fence isn't open. It's not going to open for another 2 hours. So if we really want to get out, we're going to have to teleport out, or if we have a small enough tractor like this one, we can sneak out the man entrance over here. But we've got a lot of our South American stuff. So we've got the South American red dirt, which looks awesome. It looks like they've upgraded the texture appropriately. We've got our dumping areas for this amazing grain complex looking thing, which I believe, if I remember correctly, yep, even the stairs work properly. Like, you don't even get caught on stuff. Yeah. But look at that view right there. Like, this is one of those few places where I've seen where the fog looks amazing. This early morning sunrise look with the river. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I like that a lot. But again, this is a South American map. I personally love South American maps, mainly because when they're done as a actual... Actually, did that open now? No. When they're done right, and they're using, you know, the right locale, the right starting month, which should be February, the right, the dirt, the red dirt, the more South American signs, the more legit way of doing things, and then this one has this awesome, like, multi-level thing. So I'm going to leave my truck here for now. I'm probably going to cause traffic, but we're going to get out and we're going to go into flight mode really quick, and we'll come back to the vehicle. All right. So if you don't remember this map, if we look at our PDA, the map is sectioned into the top left corner, which is where we are, is the town area. The town area is relatively flat. It's nicely decorated. It's got everything you need. And there is a sleep trigger house over here. And then you have your one field that's down here in this section of the map, which is right here. Looney, welcome in. I would expect so, Looney. This is Mapatoba. If you remember, Mapatoba came out for 22 as well. This is a regular size map. This map author, which is Granjeiro, Lostgamer, and Vergamini modding. There's no dependencies on this map. This one, I believe, is destined for consoles. And I hope it comes out soon because this is beautiful. I really think this is beautiful. This is your starting field. You start off with this field. Your harvester and grain cart are sitting here at this field, ready to go. These are your starting equipment. Yeah, this map looks way better in 25 than it did in 22. So to get in and out of the town, there's two ways to get in and out of town. One is to take this road right here, which we're on, and I'm causing traffic, but that's what I wanted to do. I want to see how bad the traffic gets. And the other way to get in and out of town is this road here. Now, this road here winds around the back lower side of the map. You can kind of see me over here by field 56, over on the right side of the PDA. And there's a long winding road. Now, there's some extra stuff over here, grain mills and whatnot, production, sell points. I believe this is the animal dealer right here. This long windy road that comes up here. It's a paved road that comes up here, and there's also a really nice dirt track road over down here on this side of the farm that ends in an area where you can put a sawmill down. But forestry, there is forestry. It's all the nice forestable trees. So if you want to start off in the forestry area and then expand into the plains. Now, again, the one thing I like about this map is that it kind of embraces this multi-elevation area where you have this lower area for a town. You have the ways to get up and in and out of the town, which you're going to have to do for sell points and stuff like that. And then it embraces this upper plains area. And not only that, look at the outside border. The outside border looks totally legit. There's stuff on it. There's fields that look like they should be fields. The roads from the inside of the map to the outside of the map connect. It looks legit. Even it flying here. I'm coming up here. I'm like, oh, where's the edge of the map? I don't know. Oh, wait, it's right here. I'm stuck. Right? That is a really, really well done outside border. One of the best I've seen so far. This dirt road just continues off into the distance. Everything lines up. Everything looks good. We've got BGA. We've got a BGA here. We've got a sawmill right here. Got a bale sell point, and it looks like they're using the two of the colored bales that I made for these are cotton bales. This is the bale sell point over here. Or they're using the same style, like 180 size cotton bales that I created for my mod, which I kind of like. Those mine, I'll show you those in a minute. This is an agro-industrial place, basically a sell point. A bunch of very square fields. So most of the fields in this map are very, very square. We have an extra crop type here, which is black bean, but there is a translation error with it. So there are no black bean fields. But it does have an extra crop of black beans, so it looks like it's not ready yet, but it's almost ready. And then we get into the fields and the farmlands, which are this whole upper plains area. And very kind of grid work fields with a little bit of border in between. When you buy the fields, go back to this whole thing where before, but when you buy the field, you're buying half of the road, right? You see that? Which means if I buy these two fields, I would be able to merge them together. So there is there is an unbuyable land, so a lot of it looks like almost everything is buyable. Even these fields right here, you also include this area over towards the edge of the hill. So it does look like everything is buyable. And then we have this open area up here, which is mostly flat. And these are all buyable as well. So it's kind of broken up into a little bit of a grid. This is the same way that it was in 22. A lot of people would come in, I think it was this one right here, and buy this plot of land and build a farm right here or over here, right? Because this one was used a lot more because it had like a line in. We'll fly over that in a second. But the rest of the lands here are pretty flat. Not my favorite, but pretty flat. And I think that actually the flatness of it would probably lean me away from this map. Just because I'm not a big fan of square flat fields. But from a visual perspective, this is one of my favorite South American maps so far. They spend a lot of time trying to make things good. Oh, look, there's another... Oh, I didn't know about this road. There's another way in and out of town, which is this, like, super switchbacky road down the waterfall areas and coming into the backside of town. Oh, I didn't know about that. And that's mostly Matopiba. So the one thing about Matopiba that I will cover here is this. So if I get out of flight mode, I'm walking in this super tall grass, but it's not grass. So if I highlight grass, there's no grass fields on the map, which means you're not going to have grass contracts, no mowing contracts, because there's no grass fields. And I really like this, like, wild head height grass in these areas. I do. But my biggest problem, this is a fault, this is probably one of the other minor negatives for me, is it's not mowable. And so, personally, oh, I like this little sell point area here. That's cool. Little cafe. This cafe. Oh, that's nice. Oh, look, NPC. Good place for the NPC. So, I wouldn't be a fan of that area because, and this is just an investment thing. My personal, and when I'm buying a big piece of land, like an open area of land, a field of some kind, we're gonna have the same issue on the next map. I want to be able to get my investment back. So, this road is awesome. I love this road. I don't know why. I love these kind of roads. This road makes me wish I had a motorcycle. Not a FS motorcycle, but a real one. I would love to ride this road. I feel like I want to get my investment back. If I'm going to spend a lot of money buying a piece of land, I need to get my investment back as soon as possible. Not just buy the land and then have to plant a crop to be able to get my investment back. Right? You buy a field, you harvest the crop the first time, and that helps you pay for the investment you put into the field, right? For the most part. And that's just kind of how farm sim works. But here, if I come in here and I buy farmland 60, which I'm on, buy for $551,000, right? It's a significant amount of land. I'm on a grass-looking crop. I'm just in mower mode. So this is my the Batwing mower, which is going to be out on a mod hub soon. I think it's pretty sure it's done with testing. I'm not getting anything dropped from this crop that looks like grass. To me, I think this is just a stretched grass, but it's not dropping anything. So I personally would love to see this map where this special whatever it is set up in the map so that it actually works like meadow. So you can mow it. It could grow back. It'll grow back to this crazy height. And then when you buy something, it drops. But the problem here is if we're looking, we have this massive plot of land. And we can mow the bushes. If you notice, most of the bushes just mowed right through, right? Actually, was it? No. So some of the undergrowth is getting mowed, but not all of it. But if I put it onto, if I change my mode to brush hog, right now it should go and get rid of the bushes. So now I'm getting rid of the bushes because I'm turning my mower into brush hog mode. This will be coming out for all platforms very, very soon. As far as I know, it's completed testing. Giants just wanted me to fix a couple thumbnails. So this will be coming out soon. Anyways, I have this investment. I just bought this big piece of land, and the only thing I can do is plow it under. Like, it doesn't even make sense for me to waste my time mowing it. Because I just have to plow it under. There's nothing here. And to me, that's a little bit of a bummer, right? I would love to see this, whatever this tall grass stuff that's here, replaced with something you can actually mow. And my preference would be, if I was going to play this map, if I'm actually going to play it, I would go in and edit that if the map author doesn't do it, and make that work. So that when I invest in these pieces of property, I can mow them the first time, make back some of my money, and then build on. Or just leave them as meadow and just have massive meadows that I can mow, because I like that, personally. But yeah, that's it. That's Matopiba. And the last piece that we look at, and this is not set up as far as I know. Yeah, 33 right now is just called the Matopiba Mill. and it's just a sell point. It's not a production that I can see. This uses a lot of the typical South American sugarcane assets. This is a lot of the typical South American stuff we saw from FS22. It doesn't look bad. The quality on some of them is a little bit like low. Like these are they're low res. They're not high res. They're not properly mapped. Not a big deal. But like this is a sugarcane drop off point. You can see that it's sugarcane drop off. If we look at our crop thingy doodle here, sugarcane. I said sugar bean. Yeah, Matopiba Mill. Sugar beets, sugarcane. We scroll through real quick. It looks like the Matopiba Mill is only for sugar beets and sugarcane. But it's a lot of land and a lot of property dedicated to not much. And there's no production here. You can't buy this and use this as a production, which I always like. If this was a sugar mill, that would be super cool. Like this whole thing was just a custom sugar mill where you could sell to it normally, but if you wanted to, it would be a custom sugar mill. That would be great, personally. But other than that, I like the map. I like the sightlines. I don't know for sure. I don't know the map author. I would expect this will be coming out for 2025, and it'll be a nice South American map when it does. To me, honestly, the gem of this map is this like small area of the map. This is the gem of the map. With the elevation changes, how it looks, the way the roads are integrated, the way there's even a sell point in the middle of that switchback road, and just the way that a lot of this stuff looks. It looks stellar. I really, really enjoy the look of this map. So I look forward to that one to come to the mod hub. That would be a great one when it comes there. Let's quit. And we'll get on to our last one of the day. I can't believe I've done 6. I need to drink something. My throat's starting to get sore from talking so much. Start. No. No. That's not what I want to do. I went straight into the map without going to the next map. Oops. Come on. Come on, Farm Sim, catch up with me. I know you don't like the fact that I quit while loading the map. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Come on. Crawler documentation. Yeah, I was working on some crawlers. All right, this, delete, yes. And our last map of the day, which is going to be Wetlands Beta. Wetlands Beta is by... This one is listed as Terras Alagadas. That's the actual name of the map. When you get into there, the English translation for that is Wetlands. It's a beta version of the map. I think overall it's a pretty good beta. And we'll get along to showing it. It is by Team IWMM and zKingHit. There are 7 dependencies on this map, all coming from Mod Hub. Very easy dependencies. And you'll see where the dependencies are when we get there. A lot of those dependencies are the South American looking stuff. Like this South American shed. And that shed. And the building, there's a building over here. This map also starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. This map also has the red dirt. Unfortunately, this map is in August and not February. So I would hope to see it in February. You've got some relatively good starting equipment. You got some spraying stuff. You got a big plow, and you need a big tractor for that big plow, but we have one. This is your starting farm. We got sheds. We got silo. We got a case. 260. This is the all maxed out CVX drive case Puma 260. Got a Massey harvester. Got these seeders. A lot of the equipment is dirty and or used. If I remember correctly. Vehicles. Condition is all good. Working hours is all good, but this is all dirty. It's all 1 to 2 months old. Looks like we got some herbicide and fertilizer. And we'll, now the sun is up, we can kind of see what's going on here. And we've got, again, a really beautiful looking map with some really interesting terrain contours to it. Which I'm very much enjoying. We've got a windmill. As far as what you own when you start, you own where we are now, this parcel of land right here. You own this parcel of land up here, which is a sugarcane field. So one of the first maps we've seen start with a sugarcane field, which is appropriate for South America. And then you've got this big farmland here, which includes both a cow barn and a pig barn, which I just jumped to without realizing I was going to. The cow barn and the pig barn do have what looks like grazable grass. It's patchy and stuff like that. So this is the cow barn. It's going to be your standard Rudolph Hornlund cow barn. And then the pig barn's over here. Again, elevation. I love the elevation changes. I love when maps bring in elevation change. I like the look of this pig barn. I believe this one is one of the mod requirements. This one looks really nice. I like the look of this one. And we've got a silage bunker. This is also one of the required mods. This is a nice, big, huge, pull-through silage bunker. And that's your main farm. This is the land you own. This is the field you own, and that's the look on the map. So let's go into flight mode and kind of like fly around the map, see what we got to offer. Remember, this is called Wetlands. So this is your sugarcane field you start off with, and this is a grass field you start off with, which is fenced. I believe you can sell those fences. And it's all the roads here are just 2-track dirt lanes, which is totally fine. 2-track dirt lanes, but some of them are pretty steep and get pretty tricky going over some kind of made bridges, some waterfalls. Got this really cool track running down here along the river, right? There's a track here running into the water, so you're gonna have to run through the water to get through this track, going over this really rickety log bridge. And it's totally a flooded area, and I think this is the wetlands part of it. It's just the main drag down here. And you got these, like, a lot of these. This happens in a few places here on this map. You got these 2-track bridges where they're using logs or planks or whatever they can find to fashion a bridge to get across an area that's too wet. This is obviously, per the name of the map, one of the highlights of the map. There's this track down the middle of the map, which kind of goes from one end of the map to the other. We've got a tugboat driving around here for fun. That's off the edge of the map, actually. This is the edge of the map right here. This is actually the outer border for Riverbend Springs. This is the southern border. This is the eastern border. But overall, this map is... This is a good picture of the map right here. Is rolling hills, very South American, very kind of build your own. There's not very many fields. Most of them are open areas that you can buy. And you can buy everything, which is nice. All of these areas are open. I've seen a couple South American maps like this. I do actually enjoy this kind of look at a South American map. One thing that they did do, which is an interesting choice, but the crops that are here, the colors of those crops seem like they changed slightly. This one does have black bean. It isn't actually on the map, but this one doesn't have the same translation error the other one did. So again, black bean is, I guess, a typical South American crop. This looking like ice is a little bit of an odd decision, but it does highlight the water that's all over the map, which is interesting. But you've got a bunch of fields, a bunch of crops, and we'll fly over the rest of it. So this is how the map looks. Not really very many forestry areas. There is 2 that I'll show you. But a lot of these are big open fields that are kind of portioned out due to the roads that are around those fields, and you can go ahead and buy the field and put in your own field if you want to. Got this fun off-roady kind of I don't know what you want to call this. Really tight, dense forestry area up here with a good number of trees. A couple hundred of the nice trees that we like for forestry. These ones are okay. These ones are way better. And it's pretty dense in here for the number of trees. So if you do want to do some forestry, maybe for a construction project or 2, you will have enough wood for it. But there's not really enough wood in here to like start a forestry empire. We're flying back over the main farm. This is the main farm here. And I kind of like how the main farm is separated, where to get from this part of the main farm, like this where your equipment is, you're going to have to go over here, go around here, go up this way, go over a bridge, and then come back over here. Like there's no direct path. Personally, if it was me, one of the first things I would be doing is building a bridge from like right here to get from one side of my farm to the other without having to go all the way around. That's what I would do. We've got a paper mill for lumber and forestry. We've got these kind of, very kind of cut into the terrain dirt roads that are definitely not smooth. And then you've got this area here. Now this area here looks like a sugar mill, right? And this is why I think this one's definitely a beta map. This whole area up here, which is using a lot of the South American sugar mill assets, a lot of them look like this one right here. It looks like it's stretched to be bigger than it normally is, but I could be wrong. And here's the tip point, typically, for your sugarcane. But there's nothing here. This is just like this big, huge thing on the corner of the map with a way station going in. But it's actually nothing. There's no sell point. There's no production. Nothing. I'm not sure I understand. Same with right here. You've got this kind of quarry-looking area. A lot of South American maps, if you remember from 22 and other versions of the game, we get a lot of South American maps that look like they're quarry type areas. A lot of those maps include quarries, but this one looks like it. I don't know what this is. Like it looks like there should have been another building here, and it's just not here. But they took it out intentionally so they could have this road going around, which looks nicely decorated. Don't get me wrong. And again, bumpy 2-track, like this little bridge filling in the corner, so you don't, when you cut the corner with your trailer, it doesn't fall off the cliff. Like there's a bunch of little stuff here that looks interesting, but it looks incomplete. Like there's a lot of decoration right up in this area here for nothing. It doesn't serve any purpose. So while I like the overall look of the map, this feels to me like it's not ready yet. When you do have fields, they're usually a little bit challenging. Hey Dale, welcome in. They're a little bit challenging. We do have a sawmill with a loop around, so you can drive through, but that's a steep loop around. That's going to be a little bit tricky with a trailer. And you, again, it got one of your like wetland roads. It drives along the wet area and then goes where it's going to go. And then over here, this one is a sell point. I believe this is the grain something or other. What's this? This is the Grain Barge Terminal 01. Now this icon is from Riverbend Springs. And it looks like they took the grain barge terminal or parts of it from Riverbend Springs. Like, this is a belt. This belt just goes nowhere. It looks like they just took it, broke it up into pieces, used parts of it, moved on. It's okay. Not a big deal, but that's where those assets come from. And then you got a few other places right here. You've got this like electrical, another mill. So a lot of forestry kind of stuff, but, and you've got a biogas plant here. And I think one more selling, this is a grape processing place. And that's it. And that's the whole map. The one downside of this map, and this is, again, back to what we talked about the last map. The one downside of this map is the grass. Give me 1 second, folks. Be right back. All right, I'm back. As you can see, I like this bridge. It's like totally like a, they made this bridge on their own in the map editor. This looks like an awesome bridge. Driving over this bridge might be a challenge. But yeah, that's a fun bridge. I like how they have this little tugboat docking area over here. Looks cool. The downside with we're talking about the grass. The downside with this grass is this is growth stage 1. So this is meadow growth stage 1. Which means when you buy any of these open areas of land, you're not going to get a profit from those land right away. And we'll double check it right now. But if we go back to the farmhouse, which is, do we have a farmhouse? Wait, hold on. Do we have a farmhouse? No. So I think right here there's supposed to be a farmhouse, but we don't have one, which is odd. You have a dog walking around. So either that farmhouse is a mod that you're supposed to have, but it's not listed as a dependency, or something else. I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to use a South American farmhouse that doesn't exist yet. I'm just going to put down this. Wait, is that a $1,700 farmhouse? Flight off. It said this was a farmhouse. I've never seen this farmhouse before. Is this new? Did Giants add an enterable farmhouse? That's like a mini house? Look at that. Is this a mod? Hold on. Hold, please. I just went into construction, went to farmhouses. Oh no, this is a mod. I was like, what? Yeah, the farmhouse package. This is the. So this farmhouse is included. This farmhouse is included in this map. So this is a farmhouse that's supposed to be in this map. All right, that's a cool farmhouse, honestly. But let's go through. I'm gonna go in here and sleep one night. I know this doesn't make sense to sleep. You know, it's currently only 7 a.m., but whatever. Still the same sleep animation. All right. That is a cool farmhouse. We've gone to the next day, and the grass is still the same height. So the grass is not growing. The other crops will, of course. The sugarcane is growing a little bit. But these grass fields that we own, because they were painted as this texture, this layer of grass, they are unusable from my perspective. So if we were to mow, and let's actually buy a vehicle, see where the shop is. I need to make this the default option. So I have to stop selecting it. Save like 30 seconds. Let's get a mower and let's go and mow. So we're at the shop. This is the shop in the middle of the map. We didn't show this earlier. I kind of flew around it, but not onto it. It's a nice South American map. This actually, I've used this same lift platform, which is cool, to be able to load stuff onto trailers. I like this look. We've seen this before in other older maps, even the one that I was working on, the Pure Embarrass map. And we get two things with loaders. So we get a forklift, a big Manitoba forklift with duals, and a Kubota with a big bag handler. And these are usable. Are they in my starting equipment? I think they are. Yeah, these are listed in my starting equipment. I own these vehicles. Uh, 11. GS. So we're over at our field, the one we start with. We own this field. And if I wanted to go ahead and mow, I'm going to mow. And all I'm going to do is get rid of the grass. Now, if I mow, this is normal mowing mode. So as you can see, it is mowing the kind of decorative weeds, which is good. Those decorative weeds are from FS19. Now they're mowable, so that's a good thing. But as you can see, we're not dropping any grass. So if I buy a plot of land, again, this is the same conversation we just had. If I buy a plot of land, any one of those plots of land, I'm not going to be able to mow it right away and make any money off of it. I'm going to have to just plow it under and then make a field. Now, some people might like that. Personally, if I buy a grass field, I want to be able to mow a grass field. That's a little bit of a bummer. And I think probably one of the only things about this map that I think prevents it from being playable today is the fact that these are not mowable. And again, it's like a 30-second change. You could go into the map and edit the map, and in 30 seconds, just change all of the stuff that's grass stage 1 to grass stage 2, and it would be perfectly playable. Some of these things up here on this side of the map getting fixed off and getting finalized, I think is important to this map's success. It's a little bit of a bummer that they're the way they are, but I feel like it's just not ready yet. And it is obviously listed as a beta. Overall, the look and feel of the map, I think, is great. I think it looks really nice. Oh, I didn't get to show you this one earlier. You've got this like pond thing in the middle of the map here, right by the store. And this is your bridge to get through here. I love how they made the bridge not straight and not flat. It reminds me of Pioneer Map. I don't know if you guys remember that one, where there was a bunch of bridges on that map that were not flat, and you could easily get your vehicle dumped. And then there's this bridge that was made out of logs, and as you can see, if you look real close, the logs in the middle, they're moving. I don't know if they're moving on purpose or that's just like a collision thing, but they're moving. But yeah, so that's the this is Terras Alagadas by Team IWMM. Oh, sorry. The few more things I missed in the middle of the map are some sell points. So we have this one right here, which looks like the dealer from the European map, which doesn't really serve any purpose. It just sits there. And then this one is, again, decorative. It's not serving any purpose. And also from the European map, Zelonka. So not 100% sure on the decisions and some of that stuff. I hope that we see this turn into a production of some kind, this turn into a production of some kind. We do have contracts on the map, but they're going to be your standard contracts: plowing, cultivating, harvesting, wood transport, and deadwood. As far as productions available: carpentry, dairy, grape processing unit, paper factory, sawmill, and spinnery. We pointed out almost all those except for the spinnery. I don't remember what that one is. We don't own any of these start. So overall, a nice looking map. I can't wait for it to be finished. This is one that I would play on. This is one from a South American map perspective that I would play on, especially if this gets finalized and it actually ends up being a sugar mill. This would be a fun map to do sugar cane on, and take this sugarcane field and maybe make our own sugarcane field somewhere else. Make a big field like this sugarcane. I like the look of this map. I like where it is. And the one last piece in this map is there is a placeable area right here in the middle of the map that you can use. This is a wood sell point, I think. Oh, the dealer trigger is here for some reason. Not sure I understand that at all. Anyways, it's almost there. It's almost ready. The land prices, the last thing was land prices. These big open areas are very expensive. You own a few of them, but they're very expensive. Like, where's the smallest one? Let me see if I can find the smallest one. Like the area around the dealership, which is kind of weird, is 3 acres, 182. So the default price, basically, the default price for all maps is $60,000 per hectare. That's the default. And so this is using the default pricing, which means that something like this big, huge open grass field, $1.6 million. And back to what I was saying, if this was actually grass, you could make a good amount of that money back. That's a massive grass field. It'll be fun to mow, and you get a lot of grass from it. But the way it is today, this version of the map, you're not going to make any money off of that. And that's a bummer. To me, that's a bummer. And I would like to see that improved upon. So making your money back from some of these places that you're buying just isn't really a thing. But overall, I like the look of the map. I like the feeling of it. If you guys have any questions on any of these crazy, all these wetland bridges and stuff, I love it. It's so interesting. Here's a farmer's market sell point, which is kind of near our own farm. We drove past it earlier. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting decisions on this map, and a lot of it looks really nice. And they merge the background area from Riverbend into the map nicely. And I think it's a very unique map from a contoured thing. It's got my kind of feeling. I like it, like the contoured lands. That's one of my favorites. But that's gonna be it for me today. I don't have any other maps. I think that this one's got some potential. And I think a lot of them have potential, but they all have little bits and pieces that are still not ready yet, which is fine. That's what beta testing is for, and that's what beta maps are for, and that's how that stuff works. But thanks so much, everyone, for coming in and joining me for this crazy 6-map, oh my gosh, 6-map map tour for a lot of these beta maps. Above all, I think my top, if I had to put like my top picks for the maps we looked at today, I'm gonna say Matopiba is gonna be one of them. I think this one's gonna be probably one of my favorites. This is the one that I'm most likely to potentially play on, but only if they fix the grass, and they finish it up. I look forward to seeing when it's done. Matopiba I would potentially play again if they fix that weed, meadow, grass thing that's in those places, so you can actually make some money back on those lands that you buy. I think that'd be fun. I really love the look of that downtown area. And then the other one I think that stands out to me is going to be Death Valley. There's so much to do there. And it's one of the first maps we've seen that it's incorporated all of the extra construction projects, all of the collectible projects, all of the NPCs, all of the factories, all of the buildings, all of those extra things. Like incorporated literally everything they could from Riverbend Springs and spread it out all over a 4X map and made it a really playable 4X map, except for, again, little things, except for the ability not to merge land. That's a bummer. And then the last one, I think, is that Lindlar map, which I know has some issues and growing pains as far as the dependencies. But I think those are growing pains that as the map author gets settled and gets his feet under him, he's going to figure out where he needs to be with those dependencies and either solve them or find other options. But I think that that map has a lot of good potential to it and a good look and feel, very similar to the not Audenburg, but Oberschwaben that we looked at. It has a very similar feel to it, which I really like. It has an insane number of trees, which would be great in a map for doing forestry. If that's your thing, maybe check it out. For the most part, most of these maps are on third-party sites, so I'm not going to give you any links to any of them. Feel free to go look for them if you want. If you want to look down in the description are the names and the authors for every map that we've looked at today. But for me, that's going to be it. Catch everyone later. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.